Hi, it's Oni and welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna be playing a get ready with me for you while I talk about my mental health journey from the beginning. I feel like it's a pretty important topic for me to cover because my mental health affects everything, including my day-to-day tasks. I'll either feel so mentally gross or so physically in pain that I just can't work or get out of bed. Luckily, I have been working on things and they're going well right now, but let's start at the beginning. So, where I believe all of this mayhem in my family started was when I was a little kid, my uncle died, and I didn't know him very well, but it affected my family deeply. My mom shut down and closed herself off, and my dad immersed himself in work and didn't talk to us. My brothers locked themselves in their room, and with me being the youngest, I was left to my own devices. I did find ways to keep myself entertained because I've always been a very creative person, but over time, the isolation in a house full of people kind of crippled me. My oldest brother had episodes when I was in elementary. It was my first introduction to mental health when he had his psychotic episode. I didn't understand what was happening, and I didn't understand why I couldn't talk to him or see him. So at this time, I was pretty confused and I was just a little girl, so I didn't really understand much and mental health wasn't a topic in my head yet. But my second oldest brother had his time to shine. When I was about to start 5th grade, right in the morning, he said that he wasn't going to tell anyone that he failed because he was just going to take the easy way out and ended up not doing it. I stood there and I listened to the whole conversation and I understood, but I didn't really get it. Over the years, things have happened and I ended up in middle school my 7th grade year. I was in math class and I had the brightest idea one day. Today, I'm going to go home and I'm going to take my life. The isolation over the past couple of years had made me feel so numb and drove me over the edge, so then I did try. I ended up in the hospital after a night of intense hallucinations and started the journey of my mom calling me an attention seeker, a faker, and evil for just about anything I did. Quote, "You harmed yourself in private and the doctor told me about it. You totally did that for attention," end quote. Every time we were at the doctor's, they would tell her that she was at fault for how I am and she couldn't take it and would yell at me the whole car ride home. I was sick of it, so I tried a couple more times, I think, and at some point, I was just begging for somebody to pay attention to me. I was just begging for somebody to help me. I don't think I actually wanted to go. I ended up on medication and eventually did find some that worked for me
after lots of trial and error.
And I do believe the medication helped. So eventually my parents split up. I went with my dad and I watched my mom scream and cry when he told her that he wanted to get a divorce. And she eventually ended up permanently kicking me out, saying that she disowned me because I wouldn't snitch on my dad when she wanted me to. Fast forward, chilling with my dad, and my stepmom comes in, and she's real nice, and I'm thinking, wow, maybe I could have a mother figure for once. Maybe I could have someone in my life that can give me real direction. Wrong. All she wanted was my dad, and when I didn't conform to whatever she wanted, it was over for me. I couldn't have any kinds of opinions or anything. I'm not even saying I was a bad kid. I think I was super chill. I just don't like when people bully me, especially my own parents. I toughed it out as best as I could until I graduated high school, and then they blew up on me again. I didn't go to college, and I started working directly. I ignored all of my emotions to try and make enough money to get out of the household that was making me feel super unsafe. So I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked as hard as I could. I worked at Menchie's and PetSmart, and then I decided to take up content creation to see if I could make any extra. I did all of this for a few years, 24/7, and I made it happen. Up until this point, I was on my medication since I was 12, and my dad had always told me that I shouldn't have to be on medication forever, so I decided to test that. They gave me the wrong medication at the doctor's office, and I was just so fed up and over everything that I just gave up, and I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I feel I can handle it on my own. I felt like I was strong enough, and I was very, very wrong. I was finally able to afford my own place thanks to content creation, but my mental health was about to deteriorate to an all-time low. It had been worse than it had ever been before, and I did not know that my brain can go to these places. I did not know that there was such darkness inside of me and the medication was keeping it at bay. I spent a couple months off medication trying to fight myself, but I couldn't and I gave up. I was scared to ask for help again. I was in so much pain that I got lost. I got so lost and I forgot what my goal for my life was and I gave up. I ended not eating well while still on medication, which is very bad. I had a rough relationship and then I didn't eat for 2 weeks. So I ended up in psychosis. I asked my best friend at the time to come and help me, and instead of helping me, he did the unspeakable. That event was the worst thing that ever happened to me. It completely changed me as a person. I feel very different. I have panic attacks more often. My anxiety is at an all-time high. Just having anxiety tics was the beginning because nowadays I'll start gagging and throwing up, and even if I have nothing to throw up in my body, I will just keep gagging and I will end up convulsing on the floor because I'm in so much pain and I have to wait for it to pass. At least now I can say that these past 4 years since that happened, I've been working very hard on myself. And I can say I'm at a point now where I believe I'm happy, which is insane because I didn't think I would be able to find it again. And I'm very pleased and I'm going to continue working hard. I am back on the correct medication and it is extremely helpful. I am eating full meals with my medication, exercising and going out. I removed myself from all these complications and things started to turn out pretty okay. So now I'm back on my path to trying to be a good person and trying to do good things again and trying to do good things for my health and my friends and family and everybody around me. Nowadays, I'm trying to get my optimistic view of life back and trying to strengthen myself and give myself confidence. When I had my psychotic episode, it completely destroyed me as a person. And I didn't feel real anymore. And I didn't feel like a person. And I just hated myself to a point where I just couldn't even stand it. And now I am loving myself again. So it was very, very, very difficult. Now that I'm taking care of my health and working hard to make things happen, I think things are going pretty well. And once I eliminated all of my family issues, because my family did all of this and I just decided to not talk to them anymore. I still talk to some of my family because they're nice to me, but my direct family, not so much. But since I got away from all of that, things have been looking up and I've just had to work on myself. It was really, really heavy when I left my parents' house because I suddenly went from an intense scenario where I was anxious and on alert 24/7 to a scenario where I was completely calm and nothing was happening. So it's pretty difficult. But things are going good and I'm trying to progress with my content creation and that's what I'm mainly focusing on. My mental health right now is pretty decent, except for the fact that I'm on my period right now and it was like really bad this past week. But like other than that, like things have been pretty decent. So yeah, I feel like I just trauma dumped on you, but I wanted to give you a rundown on why the fuck I act like I do. I feel like this is a good description of, wow, this bitch is fucked up and this is why. Interesting. Well, anyways, let me know what you think in the comments if you have anything to say, and let me know what you want me to do for my next video. I'm probably going to do another story time or something like that. I was thinking about going to the beach, doing yoga, something of the sort. So just let me know, and thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you coming here all the way to the end. So I really hope you have a nice day, and I'm gonna head out.